I want you to picture something with me. It's the present day, February 2nd, 2026. We are sitting here in the studio, and between us is a stack of paper that is, honestly, a little intimidating.
It's more than a little. It's a mountain. We're talking court documents, industry reports, billboard charts, police reports, and marketing case studies stretching back over 15 years.
And what's wild is that if you split this stack right down the middle, you'd swear we were researching two completely different people.
100%. It's a true Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Totally. On my left, I've got the file on a global icon. A guy who can slap his handwritten logo on a box of cereal and it sells out in minutes.
Instantly.
A guy who just last year in 2025 dropped JackBoys II and watched it debut at #1 like it was nothing. He is a corporate darling for Nike, for Oakley, you name it.
The Midas touch, everything he puts his name on turns to gold. That's one side of the stack.
And on your right.
On my right, I'm looking at mugshots, plural. I'm looking at lawsuits involving millions, maybe billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm seeing terms like mass casualty event, inciting a riot, and disorderly intoxication. And of course, the reports on the bridges he absolutely torched in the corporate world just a few months ago.
And yet, it is all the same man, Jacques Bermon Webster II.
The world knows him as Travis Scott.
Or The Flame. Or Cactus Jack.
The man with 100 nicknames and, like you said, two distinct realities.
That is the mission today.
Yeah.
We aren't just reading a biography. We need to figure out how a college dropout from Houston managed to become a cultural monolith, an entity that is equal parts musical genius and corporate branding magnet, while simultaneously navigating a career defined by incredibly volatile highs and some really tragic, controversial lows.
It's a fascinating case study because it defies the standard laws of celebrity gravity. Usually chaos is a liability. You know, if you are a chaotic element, brands run away from you.
Oh, for sure. They want predictability. They want safety.
But for a very long time, for Travis Scott, chaos wasn't a liability. It was his currency.
Chaos is currency. I like that. But looking at the headlines from late 2025 and early 2026, it feels like inflation might finally be hitting that currency.
That is the big question, isn't it? Has the value of the rager lifestyle finally crashed? Has the bill come due?
We have so much to get through. We're going to talk about his sound, and I don't just mean he uses auto-tune. We need to really get into the weeds of how he constructs these sonic landscapes that sound like nothing else.
And we'll talk about Björk.
Yes. The Björk influence, which I still can't quite wrap my head around, but we'll get there. We're going to talk about the time he broke the McDonald's supply chain.
Not figuratively.
No, not figuratively. He literally caused a meat shortage. And we absolutely have to discuss the train wreck that was his stint in the WWE last year.
The WWE situation is honestly the perfect lens for where we are right now. It's where the immovable object of corporate structure finally met the unstoppable force of Travis's chaotic indifference.
Ooh, well put. But before we get to the body slams and the burgers, we have to go to Houston. Because you can't understand the rager without understanding where the rage comes from.
Right. 1991, Jacques Bermon Webster II is born. And his origin story is interesting because it's not a straight line. It's a tale of two childhoods.
Lay it out for us.
So his father was a soul musician and an entrepreneur. His mom worked for big tech companies, Apple, AT&T. So there's professional ambition in the bloodline.
Okay, so a solid professional background.
You'd think. But for the first 6 years of his life, from ages 1 to 6, Travis lived with his grandmother in South Park, Houston.
And for anyone listening who isn't from Texas, we need to be very clear. We are not talking about the cartoon.
No, not at all. South Park, Houston in the early 90s was a notoriously rough area, high crime, high poverty. And Travis has been very explicit about this time in his life. He credits it with giving him his edge.
I remember reading an interview where he talked about seeing mad bums and seeing random crazy shit just walking down the street.
Exactly. He described seeing people who looked hungry and grimy. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I saw people looking weird. I was always like, I gotta get the fuck out this shit."
Wow.
When you are 4 or 5 years old and that is your daily visual input, it wires your brain differently. It installs a survival drive, a sense of urgency.
But then, at age 6, the script flips completely. He moves to Missouri City.
Right, a middle-class suburban area bordering southwest Houston. Suddenly the environment is different. It's safer, it's quieter, it's, manicured lawns and 2-car garages.
So he gets both worlds.
He gets both worlds, but he still has that memory of the hood etched into him. He has the edge, but now he has the resources.
It's a contrast that I think defines his art and his whole persona, really. He's got that gritty survivalist drive from South Park.
Right.
But he also had the suburban resources to actually explore his creativity. He wasn't just on the corner. He was in the drama club.
He was. He participated in musical theater at Elkins High School. That's a detail people often gloss over. The guy known for starting riots and mosh pits was a theater kid.
It makes sense, though, when you think about it. His shows are theatrical. They're performative to the extreme.
Precisely. He graduated high school at 17, and he actually headed to the University of Texas at San Antonio. He was on the correct path, the one his parents, with their professional backgrounds, probably wanted for him.
But this is where the divergence happens. The rebel narrative kicks in hard.
It really does. Sophomore year, he drops out.
And not just, I'm taking a break. He drops out to pursue music full-time, and he tries to hide it from his parents, which is a classic move.
Which never works for long. When they found out he was using the money for school to buy music equipment and plane tickets, they cut him off.
And I mean cut off. No money, no support, get out of the house.
This kicks off what we call the homeless phase. And I think this is crucial context. A lot of people look at Travis Scott today, the private jets, the jewelry, the mansions, and they assume it was easy. But he spent a significant amount of time sleeping on floors.
He moves to New York first, right?
Washington Heights. He's sleeping on a friend's floor, spending all his time at Just Blaze's studio.
Just Blaze is a legendary producer, massive in the Rockefeller era.
A giant. And Travis was just hovering, trying to be useful, trying to be seen, trying to absorb everything he could.
But New York is a meat grinder. It chews people up.
It is. And it didn't happen for him there. He got frustrated with the lack of movement, so after only 4 months, he makes a bold move. He goes to Los Angeles.
And this is where the story gets really dark for a minute. This is the low point.
It really is. He went there because a friend promised him housing. Come to L.A. I gotcha. Travis flies out, lands, and the friend ghosts him.
That is a nightmare scenario. You're across the country, no money, parents aren't speaking to you, and your one lifeline just vanishes into thin air.
He was truly on the edge. He had to crawl back to Houston briefly, where his parents essentially kicked him out again because they were still furious about the dropout situation.
So he's got nowhere to go.
Nowhere. So he goes back to L.A., this time sleeping on the couch of a friend who was a student at USC.
He was living on the margins. He talks about having no food, no car, just a laptop and a vision.
And that desperation, you have to believe, fuels the work. He wasn't making music for fun at that point. He was making music to survive. And then the lightning strike happened.
The discovery.
It's almost cinematic. T.I., the king of the South, the head of Grand Hustle Records, here's a production Travis did called Lights, Love, Sick.
Now, T.I. hearing a track is one thing, but what happened next is the aha moment.
T.I.'s representative contacts Travis. They get him into a studio. T.I. walks in, doesn't say much, just listens to some beats. Then Travis plays a track called Animal, and T.I. just starts freestyling over it.
In that moment, he must have known.
Oh, absolutely. In that one session, Travis went from a homeless kid on a couch to a Grand Hustle affiliate. His entire life changed.
It's wild to think how fragile that chain of events is. If T.I. is in a bad mood that day, or if the rep doesn't play that one email, we aren't having this conversation.
Not at all. And that's where the name Travis Scott starts to really mean something. It's a constructed identity.
Right, it's not his birth name.
Travis is a tribute to his favorite uncle, and Scott, that's from Scott Mescudi.
Kid Cudi.
Exactly. And that is a huge signal. If you name yourself after Kid Cudi, you are telling the world, I am not a traditional rapper. You're signaling a different kind of artistry.
Let's dig into that, because Travis has famously said, I'm not hip-hop, which sounds insane for a guy who headlines Rolling Loud. What does he mean by that?
He means he's not a lyricist in the traditional sense. He's not Nas, he's not Jay-Z, he's not trying to tell you a linear story with clever wordplay. He is an architect of sound.
A vibe curator.
It's more than a vibe, it's a texture. Vulture described his sound as unremittingly dark, syncretic, hires, and above all, unnatural. Think about that word, unnatural.
He leans into the artificiality. He's not trying to sound like a real person in a room.
He embraces it. Look at how he uses auto-tune. For a lot of artists, especially in the early 2010s, auto-tune was a crutch to hit the notes. For Travis Scott, it's a distortion pedal. It's an instrument. He treats his voice like a synthesizer.
He layers it with so much reverb and delay that it sounds like he's broadcasting from inside a cave on Mars.
Exactly. And that's before you even get to the ad-libs. A lot of credit there goes to Mike Dean, the legendary engineer who helped sculpt that sound with Travis.
Mike Dean is a genius.
A legend. They sculpt the stereo field so the ad-libs aren't just background noise. They're popping out at you from the left, the right, behind your head. It's that psychedelic trap sound. It's druggy, it's hazy, it's disorienting.
And this is where the Bjork influence comes in. Because on paper, Travis Scott and Bjork have nothing in common. One is an Icelandic art pop icon, the other is a Houston trap rock star.
But sonically, they share a philosophy. Bjork uses her voice as a texture, often blending it with electronic chaos and unconventional song structures. Travis does the same thing within the trap framework.
So it's not about the content, it's about the approach.
It's all about the approach. He also cites Bon Iver, Tame Impala, and Tom York from Radiohead.
He's taking indie rock and avant-garde pop textures and slamming them against these earth-shattering 808 bass lines.
That's the formula, and it worked immediately.
Let's walk through the discography, but I don't want to just list dates. I want to talk about the evolution of this sound and his career.
Okay. So you have the mixtapes, Owl Pharaoh in 2013 and Days Before Rodeo in 2014. These established the sound. They were dark, raw, and incredibly energetic that built the cult following.
Days Before Rodeo is the one that just got an official release on streaming 10 years later in 2024, and it still went to #1.
Which tells you how foundational that project was for his fan base. Then you get Rodeo in 2015.
The major label debut.
And honestly, a lot of purists will tell you this is still his best album. It was hungry, it felt dangerous. Antidote was on there, peaking at #16.
Yeah.
It showed he could make a radio hit that still sounded weird and dark.
It wasn't a pop sellout.
Not at all. Then Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight in 2016. That was his first #1 album. This is where he solidified his status as a legitimate superstar, not just an underground king.
But the true explosion, the moment he went from superstar to cultural monolith, was 2018.
Astroworld.
Named after the defunct theme park in Houston. That concept is so important. He wasn't just selling an album, he was selling nostalgia. He was selling a world you could enter. It was an experience.
And the music backed it up. Sicko Mode.
I mean, Sicko Mode is a masterpiece of production. It has 3 different beat switches. It features Drake at his peak. You couldn't go outside in 2018 or 2019 without hearing that organ intro.
It went diamond, which is 10 million units, and then it just kept going. It's now 15 times platinum. It is a cultural phenomenon all on its own.
That whole album felt like a carnival ride. It was chaotic, loud, and incredibly fun.
And then we waited 5 years for another solo album.
Which in the streaming era is an eternity. Most artists would be forgotten.
They would. But he came back in 2023 with Utopia, a much darker, more serious concept album accompanied by a film, Circus Maximus. And it was his 4th consecutive #1 album. It proved the gap didn't matter. The fans were still there.
And even now, looking back at 2025, JackBoys II, the compilation with his label artists, debut at #1.
Yeah.
The musical output is undeniably consistent.
It is bulletproof. You can criticize the man, you can criticize the behavior, but you cannot claim the music doesn't connect. He has an ear for what the youth want to hear before they even know they want to hear it.
But Travis Scott isn't just a musician. If he were just a musician, he'd be rich. But he's not just rich. He's a tycoon. We have to talk about Cactus Jack.
The brand whisperer. This is where the story shifts from art to commerce in a way few artists ever achieve.
Lots of rappers have merch lines. They sell t-shirts, hoodies, maybe get a sneaker deal. Travis Scott created an ecosystem.
He did. He launched Cactus Jack Records in 2017, claiming he wanted to help other artists and avoid the industry bullshit. But Cactus Jack became a seal of quality that transcended music. It became a lifestyle brand.
And we have to talk about the McDonald's collaboration in 2020. I feel like business schools are going to be teaching this case study for 50 years.
They absolutely should. Think about what it was. The Travis Scott meal. What was in it? A quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, and lettuce, BBQ sauce on the side for your fries, and a Sprite.
That's it. It wasn't a new burger. He didn't invent a new sauce. It was stuff they already had in the kitchen.
Exactly. But it was the first celebrity meal since Michael Jordan in 1992. That nearly 30-year gap created an event. It gave it relevance.
Yeah.
And the market, oh my God.
It wasn't just a commercial. It was a cultural takeover. The memes, the TikToks of kids pulling up to the drive-thru and just blasting sicko mode.
They turned buying a quarter pounder into a hype beast activity. It was cool to go to McDonald's again. And the result, they literally broke the supply chain.
Wait, explain that for people. They ran out of beef.
They ran out of the specific ingredients for the quarter pounder, the beef patties, the bacon, the lettuce in multiple regions across the country. They had a shortage because so many people were ordering the Travis Scott. It wasn't a hunger thing, it was a participation thing. People wanted to be part of the moment.
And the merch drop alongside it. I remember seeing the McNugget-shaped body pillow.
A 3-foot-long body pillow shaped like a chicken nugget. And it sold out instantly for, what, like $90? It's absurdist. It's brilliant. It showed that Travis, or at least his team, understood internet culture. They knew that if they made something ridiculous, it would go viral, and that virality drives sales.
It's the drop culture of streetwear applied to fast food.
Precisely. And he did the same thing with Fortnite just a few months earlier in April 2020. Astronomical.
Their virtual concert right in the middle of the pandemic lockdowns.
27 million unique participants. He debuted a song with Kid Cudi the Scots inside the game. A giant Godzilla-sized avatar of Travis stomping around the map while players floated in the air.
That changed the game for what a concert could be. It showed that a digital event could feel like a real cultural moment.
And it sold digital merchandise, skins, emotes. He was making millions of dollars on pixels.
And we can't skip the sneakers.
Yeah.
Nike, Jordan Brand. This might be the most powerful part of his brand empire.
The Cactus Jack Jordan 1s, the Mocha, the reverse Mocha.
Yeah.
Ask any sneakerhead. These are the holy grails of the 2020s. They retail for maybe $170, and they resell for $1,500, sometimes $2,000, the second they drop.
It's instant arbitrage. It's like printing money if you can get a pair.
And it's not just Jordans, Air Force Ones, Dunk Lows. Even recently, in 2024 and 2025, he launched his own signature silhouettes, the Jumpman Jack and the Zoom Field Jacks. He is Nike's golden goose.
And looking at our notes for 2025, he was named Chief Visionary Officer of Oakley. What does that even mean?
It means they pay him a lot of money to be associated with their brand, and he designed a special kit for FC Barcelona as part of their Spotify deal. He is everywhere: fashion, sports, food, gaming.
So you look at this resume. You see the number one hits, the burgers, the shoes, the corporate titles. You think, this guy has won the game of capitalism.
He has, no question.
But there is a cost.
Yeah.
There is a dark side to the rager energy
Yeah.
that powers this entire machine. You can't monetize chaos without creating chaos.
And that is the pivot point of his life. The energy that makes a Travis Scott show exciting, the mosh pits, the stage diving, the screaming, is the exact same energy that makes it incredibly dangerous.
And it's not an accident. It's a pattern. A documented legal pattern.
We have to be clear about this. This isn't just bad luck or things got out of hand once.
Let's go back. This started way before Astroworld.
Way before. 2015, Lollapalooza in Chicago. Travis is on stage. He tells the fans to climb over the barricades and rush the stage. Security is trying to stop them, and he's on the mic telling them to override security, chanting, "We want rage."
He was arrested for that.
He was charged with disorderly conduct. He later pled guilty. He basically shut down a major festival for an hour.
Then you have the Switzerland incident, also in 2015.
This one is ugly. A fan tried to take a shoe while he was crowd surfing. Travis stops the show. He points the guy out, and he tells the crowd on the microphone, "Fuck him up." And then he spat on him.
He told the crowd to attack a person.
Yes. For trying to steal his Yeezy.
That's incitement. That's unbelievably reckless.
It is. Then 2017, Arkansas. Arrested again for inciting a riot at a concert. Same story. Encouraging fans to bypass security and rush the stage. Several people were injured, including a security guard and a police officer.
And then New York, Terminal 5, 2017.
A fan, Kyle Green, falls from a third-story balcony. He's paralyzed. He later sued, saying he didn't jump. He was pushed by the crowd surge that Travis was encouraging. Travis's team then dragged him on stage while he was injured and offered him a ring.
So the warning signs weren't just flashing. They were screaming sirens for years.
But the industry ignored them because the show sold out. The chaos was profitable. The brand was built on this rage aesthetic. Until November 5, 2021.
Astroworld.
The Astroworld Festival in Houston. It was supposed to be his crowning achievement. A festival in his hometown, named after his most successful album, a pilgrimage for his fans.
And it turned into an absolute nightmare.
A mass casualty crowd crush. 10 people died. The youngest was 9 years old, Ezra Blount, ages 9 to 27. Hundreds were injured. It was one of the deadliest concerts in U.S. history.
And the controversy beyond the horrific loss of life was about what was happening on stage while people were dying in the crowd.
Right. The show kept going for nearly an hour after officials declared it a mass casualty event. There's video footage where you can see an ambulance trying to move through the crowd. Travis acknowledges it. He says there's an ambulance in there. But then moments later, the music starts again, and he's telling the crowd to get wild.
You can hear people in the crowd chanting, "Stop the show!"
Chanting, "Stop the show," trying to climb the camera platforms to tell operators what was happening. It was chaos.
Now, legally, this is very complex.
Very complex. In June of 2023, a grand jury in Texas declined to indict him criminally.
Explain that to us. Why no criminal charges?
To charge him with a crime like criminally negligent homicide, you have to prove intent or extreme recklessness that amounts to intent. You have to prove he knew people were dying and chose to keep playing.
And the defense?
The defense argued that from the stage, with the bright lights in his face and the loud in-ear monitors, he couldn't see or hear the specific distress. He claimed he didn't know the severity until after the show. The grand jury found there wasn't enough evidence to prove criminal liability beyond a reasonable doubt.
Which is a legal standard, but the civil lawsuits.
Massive, hundreds of lawsuits from the families of the victims and the injured. Most have been settled out of court, but the reputational stain is permanent.
He launched Project HEAL in 2022, a $5 million initiative for event safety.
Which was viewed by many, perhaps cynically, as a PR move, reputation repair. But the real question remains, did he actually learn? Did the behavior change after such a profound tragedy?
You would think, after 10 people die at your show, you would become the safest, calmest performer on Earth. You'd be stopping the show if someone tied their shoelace wrong.
You would think. But if we look at the timeline from 2023 to 2025, the volatility is still there. The aggression is still there.
Let's run the rap sheet for the last couple of years, post-Astroworld.
March 2023. Nebula nightclub in New York. He gets into an argument with a sound technician who asked him to lower the volume, allegedly punches the guy in the face, and causes $12,000 in damage to the equipment.
Over the volume being too loud.
Allegedly.
Right.
He settled that one. No charges were filed. Then June 2024, Miami Beach.
The yacht incident, this one made all the headlines.
Arrested for disorderly intoxication and trespassing. He was on a charter boat, got into a dispute, was asked to leave multiple times, refused, and got aggressive with the crew. The police came.
And this is the moment that really tells me where his head is at. What did he do the next day?
He immediately released a T-shirt with his mugshot on it for $45.
It's not tragic, it's branding.
Exactly. He took a moment of personal failure getting arrested while drunk on a boat and turned it into a profitable ski-u. He even edited the mugshot on the shirt to make himself look cooler, adding sunglasses in the artwork.
It shows a lack of remorse. Or maybe just a total commitment to the outlaw bit, no matter the cost.
It suggests he believes he is untouchable. The intoxication charges were eventually dropped, but the trespassing charge remained. Then, just 2 months later, August 2024, Paris. A fight with his own bodyguard at the George V Hotel. He then allegedly attacked a security guard who tried to intervene.
It's just constant aggression, a pattern of it.
It is. And that brings us to the most recent chapter, the one that happened just a few months ago in 2025, the WWE crossover.
This one is just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
On one hand, it makes sense. On the other,
It shouldn't be that bizarre. WWE is a massive global brand. They love celebrities. Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, they've had huge success there. On paper, it was a natural fit for Travis to bring in a younger, cooler audience.
So January 2025, WWE Raw moves to Netflix. It's a huge premiere for them. Travis Scott provides the theme song, 4x4. He walks Jey Uso to the ring. The crowd goes wild. It looks like a win-win.
It started well, but wrestling requires discipline. It is a scripted performance that relies entirely on trusting the other person not to actually hurt you. It's a dance.
And Travis isn't known for discipline or restraint.
Not at all. March 2025, the Elimination Chamber event. Travis turns heel.
For the non-wrestling fans, that means he became the bad guy.
Right. It's a scripted betrayal. He helps The Rock and John Cena attack Cody Rhodes, who is the biggest babyface, the biggest hero in the company.
Okay, that's good TV. Creates drama.
Great TV. Until Travis throws a punch. In wrestling, you pull your punches. You make it look real, but you don't actually connect. Travis reportedly threw an improper punch. He clocked Cody Rhodes for real.
Ouch.
Busted his eardrum, gave him a black eye. This is the face of the company, their top star, who he just injured because he was sloppy or didn't care to learn.
And wrestling locker rooms are protective of their own.
Very. But they kept going with the plan. They set up an angle for WrestleMania 41 in April 2025. Travis Scott and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and a partner. It was going to be a marquee match on the biggest show of the year.
But it never happened.
No. Travis appeared at WrestleMania. He interfered in the main event, took a finishing move from Cody called the Crossroads, and then he vanished.
Why? What happened behind the scenes?
He was scrubbed. Completely. Removed as a playable character from the WWE 2K25 video game. The tag team match was scrapped.
So what came out in the wash?
Reports surfaced that WWE talent and staff found him lazy and difficult to work with, but the real kicker was the corporate gossip. It turns out his spot wasn't earned. It was a favor to Ari Emanuel.
Ari Emanuel, the legendary agent and CEO of TKO, which owns WWE.
Right. Ari Emanuel is the ultimate Hollywood power broker. He allegedly forced WWE Creative to include Travis. So when Travis showed up late, didn't want to rehearse, and then injured the top star, the creative team and the wrestlers revolted.
They spit him out.
They did. And that is so significant. WWE puts up with a lot. They build a superstar out of Logan Paul. They work with Tyson Fury. If you are too difficult for the carnival of pro wrestling, you are in a very dangerous spot reputationally.
It's a barometer, really. It shows that corporate tolerance has a limit, even for a star of his size.
Exactly. Ari Emanuel's favor could get him in the door, but it couldn't keep him there when he became a liability to the actual product.
So here we are, February 2026. Let's synthesize this entire chaotic career.
We are looking at a true paradox. We have a man who has topped the charts in 3 different decades now. JackBoys 2 proves the music is still as viable as ever. The Nike deal is still active.
The money is flowing. The cultural relevance musically is still there.
The money is flowing, but the walls are closing in on the behavior. You can be a rager when you're 25 and coming up. It's part of the brand. Can you be a rager when you're turning 35, entering middle age, and you have a history of lawsuits and botched corporate deals?
The rager lifestyle is high maintenance, and it has real-world consequences.
It does. And the WWE incident shows that brands are watching. If you become uninsurable, if you become too much of a headache, the cool factor stops being worth the risk. Eventually, the numbers on the risk assessment sheet outweigh the numbers on the sales sheet.
Which brings us to the final provocative question. Travis Scott has turned chaos into a currency. But as he gets older, does that chaotic rager lifestyle sustain the brand? Or does it eventually become a liability that even the biggest corporate partners can no longer stomach?
Is the Cactus Jack empire separate enough from the man to survive him? Right now, they are dangerously intertwined. And if he doesn't figure out how to separate the chaos of the art from the chaos of his real-life conduct, the empire might just crumble from the inside.
A heavy thought to end on. From sleeping on floors in NYC to breaking the McDonald's supply chain to getting fired by the WWE, it has been a wild 15 years.
And I have a feeling the next 5 will be even wilder.
We'll be watching. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.